Good afternoon, Jyoti. Can you hear me? This is Ram from Mathus Academy. Jyoti, can you hear me? Just testing my microphone if it is working.
Hey Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Jyoti. Can you hear me, Elsa?
Sorry, I have a TV here, so I just took it while.
Yeah, no problem. Can you hear me, Jyoti?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Nice meeting you. Like we did speak on the phone before. I'm from Virginia.
Oh, okay. What is your full name, Jyoti?
My last name is Rai Varapu.
Okay. Which grade are you? I'm trying to recollect. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like my older one is Ganesh. He is in 9th right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but he did take math counts classes before with you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ganesh.
And then I have like two more younger ones. They are both 5th graders. So I was just looking for some summer classes. So I thought you might share that right today in the webinar.
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Okay. So are we waiting for others to join?
Yeah, it's not till 2 p.m. So
Okay,
we'll
sure.
give a few
Like
minutes.
I will just stay on the line.
Sure.
That's it. What about this?
Hi, Parthiv and Sid. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Hello, Sid. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, very good. We'll get started in a few minutes. By the way, these webinars are primarily for parents.
For
And,
parents. This is for parents.
yeah, primarily for parents. So it's so if any kids have joined, and
It is for parents.
so please tell your parents if any kids have joined.
Hi, I'm Siddharth Dad. Just joined here. Tim.
Hi, this is Ram. May I know your name?
My name is Sailesh.
Hi, Shailesh. Okay, we'll just we'll give 1 or 2 minutes and get started.
Sounds good. This is mainly for kids or for both?
No, this is mainly for parents.
Okay.
So this gives the information about. So we have multiple webinars. This webinar is about how to make online classes effective and what are the classes that are offered during the summer.
Got it. Thanks.
So it's primarily for parents. Okay. Can each of you find there is a small chat box? If you can, in the chat, if you can write your name, email address, and your child's grades. So at the end of the webinar, we'll email you the presentation, and also just to make sure we address the questions that are relevant for different grades. So just write your name. So in the chat, there is also private option. So you can just send that to me because there's, so if you can, in the tool, select RAM or Mathus Academy, and just type your name, email address, and your child's or your children's grades. That will help me kind of address relevant topics for the grades, and maybe you can even mention which classes are you looking for if you have something in mind. Otherwise, that's okay. But just at least give your email address, so we'll email you the presentation and your child's grades.
Hey Ram, so I'm sorry, like I was away from the phone. So are you saying to send a private text message?
Yeah, so in the webinar, you'll find a chat. You go to the chat, under the chat, there is a everyone, and there is a also you can drop down, you can select a particular
Yeah.
name. So,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, in the select my name, and that just give your email address and your children's grades. Your name, email address, name, and grade, so that I can address accordingly, and I will also send you the presentation after the webinar is over. Sure. Parthiv, if you can do the same as well. Hi, Madhavi, can you hear me? Hello, Madhavi, can you hear me? You're on mute, Madhavi. You can either say it or just type into the chat box if you can hear me. Madhavi, I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm just typing into the chat in case you're not able to hear me. Can you hear me, Madhavi? I'm not able to hear you, and you're on mute, by the way. Ashti Devi,
Hi Ram.
how are you?
Good.
Right, we're just about to start. All right. Madhavi, I'm assuming you can hear me. I can't hear you because you're on mute. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Awesome. Right, my name is Ram, and today I too have topics to cover, but depending on your interest, I can spend more time on one versus the other. So one question we get from some parents, the concerns related to online classes versus on-site. I don't know whether that's something that you would want me to cover, otherwise you can go fast. If you're primarily looking for information related to the classes that are offered, I can spend more time on that. But let me get started. And if you don't need me to cover a particular topic, especially related to what are the advantages of online classes, how can you make better, etc., tell me, I can skip over that. Okay. So first of all, briefly, for some of you who are new to Mathus Academy, I'll just briefly talk about what is Mathus Academy. We're an educational academy, started in 2011. And our mission is to help bring the best out of every child. We believe that every child has an infinite potential, is endowed with a lot of potential, but it really to help bring that out. And interestingly, a gentleman who lived almost 2000 years back, Plutarch, said, mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be ignited. And it's, I mean, he said it 2000 years back, but it's as true today as it was always been. And if you haven't read, there is a great book from a former president of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, called The Ignited Minds. You should read it. And every kid has already the potential, and we, through a number of means, we try to impart knowledge, but it is really a means to ignite a fire that is already within them, just so that if somebody is motivated, they will go and seek. It is really to help ignite that fire is all our goal, but we can't do that in vacuum. So we do it through the number of different activities, including classes, but it's really to help uh, the best of what is already within them. And interestingly, the word education came from a Latin word called educere, which meant to draw out or to bring forth, which is the same topic, that it is really to bring forth what is in them. And that's what we strive to do in a number of different activities that we do. Some of our activities, we conduct webinars like this, sometimes for the parents, sometimes for the kids. This one is for the parents. We also conduct a number of other events like math festivals, college counseling, seminars or webinars, etc. We're actually planning one in June with a college counseling panel, bringing many actually students who went to colleges, some prestigious colleges and some more accessible colleges, and let them speak and address questions that parents and high school children have. We also conduct different online tests like a math test, spelling bees, etc. And we obviously conduct many online classes, courses including in math, ELA, spelling, science, coding, public speaking, debate, PSAT, SAT, ACT, etc. Many of them in group format. And we also do one-on-one for any high school subjects or even middle or elementary, one-on-one as well as needed. And we also work with many non-profit organizations like local schools and North-South Foundation, etc. So now for the first topic of my discussion, let me know if you're already know about anything about everything about how online classes work and the advantages. I probably don't need to spend too much time, but because you didn't say anything, I'll go over this probably fairly quickly. First, they're safe, especially in the current kind of times. No outside exposure. They can be taken at the comfort of your home. No, there's no commute to go and back and forth to a location, so it saves you time and it saves money. No gas spent on that. And these are live interactive video conferencing based classes. So when we say online, it's not like a lecture, like a one-sided lecture, or like recorded one. It is actually live interactive classes. We engage kids through video, audio, whiteboard, etc. Actually, we use the same tool that we are using today, the Zoom, but this is a webinar. A webinar is slightly different. It is a little bit more one way, although I do want you to ask questions, and you can ask questions anytime. You type into the chat and or even I'll pause between slides and you can ask me questions. But in the actual class, it will be much more interactive. We use a whiteboard, online whiteboard, and a teacher can write, the student can also write or speak. They're much more interactive classes. And we have been doing online classes for a long time, but I remember the early days of online classes. I guess the first tool that we use called VisiQ. It was very good for that time, but by today's standards, it's like generations back, right? Video is much more streamlined now. Audio is very streamlined, and obviously the internet speeds have improved, and the tools became very, very mature. So the classes became much more effective as well in the process. And all the classes get recorded. So the video recordings will be available later for review, or if a child misses a particular class, or maybe misses for a few minutes, or just want to review again, the recordings will be available. In a face-to-face class, obviously that's harder to do. So there are many advantages of online classes, including parents can actually oversee online classes without intruding a class, right? Just stand back and see occasionally. In a face-to-face class, typically in a classroom, it will be intrusive if you go inside the room, right? Whereas an online class, you can watch without being intrusive and not make the students conscious that an adult is watching, right? And most importantly, the education world is going online. And it is a trend that has been happening for past several years. I guess the current COVID situation accelerated it, but it has been happening. And it is the future. And it is better to start early and adapt. And when you say early, how early? Right? We have even kindergarten, first grade students who take online classes, and there are ways to make it effective. It's a little bit harder with the younger students, so it requires a more work on the part of parents to get them used to it, help them, etc. But no age is too young, and definitely for elementary, middle, and high school students. Any questions so far? I went fairly fast on this because I'm assuming that I know you're from different parts of the country and you already know about these. But if you have any questions, I can pause and answer. Okay, let me quickly check on something. Madhavi, are you still able to hear me? I know you couldn't respond. I'm assuming you're able to hear me. And I think somebody else also joined later. Anusha, you joined. Okay. All right.
Why I can't?
Sorry, say that again. Somebody has a question?
I have been having issues. I can hear you. I was on since the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I think you were on mute until now, Madhavi. That's why I couldn't hear you.
I tried to unmute it, but when it is in the full screen mode, it didn't let me. So now I had to exit. That is weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, if any of you have any questions, you can either type into the chat box or you can just ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. All right. So how can we make the online classes even better for the students? One thing I will recommend is get a good headset. Um, preferably even a full covered headset, so that the students have less chances to get distracted. It's a worthy investment, and more and more classes will be online from schools also in future. And definitely, if you look at high school and college students, they have so much of everything online. So I think it is better to get them started, used to it, and a headset really helps them stay focused and avoid distractions. For young kids, I think the parents initially need to help them get started and just getting things used to. Then you'll be amazed at how fast they actually learn once you get them used to it. And for the older kids, I think it's better to let them be on their own. They don't like being intruded, but just keep an occasional eye just to make sure that they're focused and not switching the tabs to other unnecessary tabs. But we try to keep the classes engaged with the teacher. We keep the class size, even a group classes, we keep them small class sizes so that the teacher engages each student, asks questions, etc. So it is difficult for the student to get distracted. We try to keep the videos on. So, but still, it's good to keep an occasional eye. So now I'll switch. Let me know if you have any questions on online classes in general. Otherwise, I'll switch to our course, what courses we offer, and I'll talk a little bit about each of those courses. And again, I'll pause at each point and you can ask me questions. So in math, we offer two types of courses: critical thinking math and what we call bridge math during the summer. It's for students who want more school math help or get ready for the next academic year. We do more bridge math during the summer, next grade math. The difference between them is the bridge math is more school type math, whereas critical thinking is more problem solving in nature. And I'll talk about more of that in the next slide. We do offer ELA classes, both in reading, writing.
Hey Ram, quick question for the bridge math.
Sure.
So like here in Virginia, like if they are in the gifted and talented, right? So they go like one grade level above in the regular class. So
Right.
is that how it is, or like if my kids are in 5th grade, so if I want to enroll them in that, so should I do 5th or should I do 6th?
So good question. So for those who are, it's called with different names in different states, but most states have this either what they call gifted program or accelerated program, etc. In that case, you'll actually put them one grade ahead because that's what's going to be covered in the school. Now, if you think that, well, if this is the first time they're going to the program, maybe, so sometimes there may be gaps because you're inevitably jumping ahead. Obviously, it is done because the students are ahead, but sometimes there may be gaps. In that case, to fill the gaps, you may want to do the grade that is going to be skipped, right? So that they don't have gaps. But so it really depends on the student. But if they're way ahead, and if you think they don't have a gap, then you should do the following grade, which is the whatever the gifted or accelerated math that they need to do.
Yeah. So is there a way that you provide any like a pre-test type of thing to see where they are, like which level is best for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do an assessment, and once you, yeah, each of you can in the chat box, the private chat, for those who joined later, if you can type your email address, your name, and your child grade, and which subjects you are looking for. I'll send you the presentation I'll email you the presentation after the webinar, but also you can answer any individual questions or give them assessments, etc. after the webinar. Now, also to decide between critical, so Jyoti, another question is whether we should put in the bridge math versus critical thinking. So if a student is going to the gifted or accelerated program, obviously he or she is doing well. So another option is to put them in critical thinking math, because see, school math is typically procedural, right? Whereas in critical thinking, it's more problem solving in nature. Problem itself is not obvious. They need to think about what it is asking, how to solve, etc. It will help. I'll talk more about the difference in the next slide, but it will also be helpful for math competitions. And it is not just acceleration, it's called enrichment. So instead of going next grade, we go deeper into the math. So there is a difference between critical thinking. So the assessment will help decide which way to go.
Okay, and then so the critical thinking is it like competitive math or still like you're saying it's grade level?
It is competitive math. They don't have to go to competitions. That is optional, but it is more like a competitive math where those kind of problems typically are not asked at school. They're more harder questions, and they're more often asked in the competition. But it's also good foundation for future SAT, ACT, AP courses, etc.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, then next, so we also offer ELA classes called Language Genius in reading and writing. I'll talk about each of these. I have a slide for each of these later. This is just a summary. So we have similarly public speaking and debate classes, spelling bee preparation for those who are into, it's a niche class, it's not for everyone. For those who are seriously into spelling, we have spelling bee classes by Scripps toppers. We have science classes in what called Science Genius in Earth Sciences, Physical Sciences and Life Sciences as one course. But for older kids or those who are already good at science, we offer specific courses in biology. We also have a course called Brain Bee, which is more neuroscience based competition. So we offer that as well for those. And that is typically for probably 7th, 8th, 9th kind of grade students who have basic introduction to biology and want to participate in Brain Bees or really want to learn neuroscience, for as a future potential career. And we also have coding courses. We use Scratch for younger kids, so like 2nd to 5th grade, Scratch programming, and for middle school or even high school kids, we have Python programming. And lastly, we have test prep in SAT, PSAT, or ACT for primarily high school students, but there are some situations where 7th, 8th graders take SAT or ACT for due tape, or PSAT 8, 9, even for 5th or 6th graders. Those are called above grade tests. I'll talk about that when that slide comes in. And we offer all of these in small groups, but if a particular, if you prefer a private class for whatever reason, based on the kids' learning type, or just you want a more accelerated, customized course, we can customize any course and personalize using a one-on-one courses as well. Any questions on the summary of the courses?
I just have one more quick question, Ram. So for the SAT, like, is it combined English and math, or is it separate if they want to do only English?
So we can do both. We have SAT, math, and English together. But if there are enough students, if there are at least 3-4 students who just want English, we also offer SAT English. In fact, we just started, I think last week, one SAT English class. So if you're we often don't get a batch to form. We can do obviously one-on-one, we can do SAT English. Or if you're seriously looking at only SAT English, we have one that is just started. There may be a way for, we may be able to do a catch-up class for your son for the missed classes and provide the recordings of the missed class, and then maybe from next week you can join if you're just looking at SAT English. But in general, yes, we offer whole SAT, which is math and English together, or SAT English. We never had a demand for SAT math alone, but we do get sometimes requests for SAT English alone. We offer that as well, either as one-on-one class or a group class whenever we can form a batch.
Okay. And also, do you offer SAT subject tutoring too, like group classes?
So
I'm looking for math.
Which one?
too.
Math too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We currently mostly offer it as one-on-one. Again, so just if you can actually, after this, can you do me a favor? Can you just probably email
Sure.
me those, and then we'll definitely, if there are others, this is the time when many requests come in over the next week or so for utilizing the summer. The other students who are interested, we can definitely make a group.
Okay, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So now I'll briefly talk about each of these, and please feel free to ask questions. So as I said, in math, we offer 2 types of courses: the critical thinking math, which is more problem solving in nature. And for that, within that, we have a program called Math Genius. We have multiple levels in that based on an assessment. And we have some of those who just started last week. And we also offer some competition specific courses like math counts and AMC. The math counts and AMC have not started yet. They will start from June 1st week. The Math Genius has just started. So if you're looking for math, let me know. Either I think, or Sridevi and Ramya for our team have joined. So just if you're looking for that, if you can go to our chat box and just type what are you looking for, and we'll have an assessment email to you right away. And based on that, we can decide which one is better suited for your child. And the bridge course, as I said, is for the school math, that is by grade. The critical thinking math is not strictly by grade. It is more based on the kid's skill set, because most students who are going for this are already advanced, and some are more advanced than others. So obviously, it's not strictly by grade, but we have multiple levels, and we help place at appropriate level.
Hi, Ram, Madhvi here. I have a quick question on the bridge courses. I see in your earlier slide that it's only until 8th, but do you have for the high school grades also?
High school grades typically we do as one-on-one. Which course are, and also high school typically varies, right? It could be algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry, etc. Which course are you looking for?
Algebra 1.
Yeah, we may have an algebra 1 course. Again, typically algebra 1 and algebra 2, there's enough demand. There could be other students, but if there's nobody else, we can definitely do one-on-one.
Okay.
But we could potentially do as a group class. As I just mentioned to Jyoti earlier, right? Some courses are easier to form groups than others. But yeah, if you can just email me right after this,
Okay.
then we can help you with, if you can either as a group class or one-on-one, we can help with that.
So the classes, when are any of these classes are going to start?
So most of these are going to start from June 1st week.
Okay.
So therefore June, July period, majority of them, and we'll do multiple classes a week. Some are twice a week, some are 3 times a week, depending on the course, because during the summer kids have more time. Some have just started, like Math Genius, for example. Within this, Math Genius has just started, but Math Counts, AMC, and the bridge courses have not started yet. They will start June 1st week.
Great, thank you.
And even for those who started, if you're looking for one of those, we have ways to help catch up on those and get on board.
Okay, awesome.
Any other questions from anyone? All right. So sometimes critical thinking, it's not obvious if you haven't seen those kind of questions in the past. So I just took one example. There are millions of possible. The Math Genius and Math Counts AMC classes cover all types of math, from number theory to arithmetic, algebra, geometry, statistics, probability, everything. But I just want to give an example how a critical thinking question could be different from a regular school question. So this is a simple addition problem. We're adding a 2-digit number OH to another 2-digit number HO, and we get a 3-digit number WOW. So just to make it fun, O plus O equal to wow, right? So each of these are digits. O, H, and W are digits. They're non-zero digits. That is 1 to 9. Now what is the value of H? So if you ask this question, obviously you can try probably trial and error and eventually may get an answer. But how do you approach this logically, and how does it help improve critical thinking? There's obviously no procedure for this. So if you look at addition or subtraction, multiplication, division, or even algebra, or go to vector calculus, there are procedures, right? You're given a question, there's a set of steps, and you get an answer. For this kind of question, there is no standard procedure. You need to think. That's why it's called critical thinking. So what can we do to think to solve this one? So if you look at one way to look at is, what do you think? Maybe let me ask you, what is the What could be a starting point for this kind of this question? We definitely need to know how the addition procedure works, right? We need to know about, understand the carryover process, because the 2-digit number added to 2-digit number 1 to 3-digit, so there is a carryover. So let me use annotation and right here. Okay, so there is obviously a carryover here. When we added O plus H, and maybe there was another carryover, but when you added all that together, you got W. What could this W be? Can it be a 9 or an 8 or a 7? Obviously not possible because that will be too big. Right? So what do you think? What are the possible values for W? Anyone? Right. So I guess you want me to talk. So this has to be 1. Because even if O and H are very large digits like 9 and 8, right? 9 plus 8 is 17. Even if there is another carryover from previous, it's maximum 18. So W cannot be more than 1. So if this W is 1, this W is also 1. Now the question is, what is H? How can we get there? So now we got the W. How can we get O and H? If this W is 1, what does it tell us about H plus O?
So should be 0.
Yeah, one of them has to be 0, but it said they're all non-zero digits. So 0 is not allowed. So H plus O has to be 11. Right, so that there is a carryover here again. Right? If H plus O is 11, what does it? O plus H must also be 11. But we have carryover 1, so this must be 12. If this is 12, then O must be 2. If this O is 2, this O is also 2, which makes H equal to 9 because H plus O is 11. So now we got all of them. So this one, if you look at compared to any school math problem, this promotes analytical, critical thinking in the kids. So they're forced to come out of the standard procedures and think. Because one of the important things in education, not just in math, in a subject, is not just learning the knowledge, but knowledge is important, they need to learn that, but even more important thing. Unfortunately, that's not emphasized enough in either school curriculum or even many outside classes. If you go to commands and high levels, so they all teach you procedures, but its procedure is not enough. You got to go a little bit beyond to think and understand why that procedure works. And this kind of math helps with going out of that mold and think. And it's especially for in high school. Once the kids are into high school, it's a little bit harder because the load is much higher and they probably wouldn't have time for anything else. But for young kids, we highly encourage get them early on to critical thinking, like a Math Genius program. It will, if they start young and continue with that, they will get really strong. And it will obviously help with school math indirectly, although we don't do school math during Math Genius and other critical thinking classes. It does help with school. All of our Math Genius students do extraordinarily well in the school as well. But it also a strong foundation for SAT, ACT, AP courses, and just analytical thinking, even engineering courses in future, because it's really a way of thinking. It's not just about math, it's about a way of thinking. So I don't want to bore the parents with math, but I just wanted to show you often we use a lot of terminology. What does it really mean? Just wanted to. Any questions or comments? All right. The next slide. So ELA courses, similar to Math Genius, we have Language Genius courses, which help with reading, writing, grammar, vocabulary, sentence construction, but also a lot of writing styles. We talk about narrative style versus writing in expository versus argumentative, and these are all practice-based classes. We teach the fundamentals, but the students have to be given prompts, they have to write, they have to read, and they have to either answer questions or write. Again, give a very strong foundation for school as well as future SAT, ACT English, and AP courses. And we get a lot of requests for math, but personally, I feel the English, we don't pay enough emphasis until it is too late. And it's part of the reason why we see a lot more students, they say that, hey, I'm getting a SAT math perfect score, but I need help with English. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think if we lay a strong foundation in English, math and English are the two most important subjects for young students. So I think intrinsically we all know importance of math, we emphasize that, but I think English is equally important. And the earlier we start, the better it is. Because it's just like these things are not like a sprint, they're marathon. And they will help build strong skills long term. Any questions? All right. So science courses. We have a Science Genius course, which covers, it's an advanced science course for typically 4th to 7th grades. By the way, don't read too much into the grade. They're more for giving typical grades rather than strictly enforced grades, because I see kids of varying skills all the time, and we don't enforce the grades. If a 3rd grader is already started studying, are very interested, may be able to do that, right? So they're just more indicative than strict rules for all of the courses. So this gives a strong foundation in earth sciences, physical science, and life sciences. It helps for obviously school, but also again strong foundation for AP courses, etc. when they go to high school. We also have a separate biology course because there's a lot of interest in biology among the students who, again, typically say 7 through 9, but can vary. For those who got a basic understanding of life sciences, we go a little bit deeper into biology. And those, again, who want to pursue biology careers in future and AP biology, etc. in high school. And then we have a Brain Bee or a neuroscience-based class. There are many competitions called Brain Bee competition. There's a North Sound Foundation Brain Bee. There's a National Brain Bee, etc. It's based on neuroscience. Neuroscience probably is they say the last frontier of life sciences. Of all the everything in the body, the least understood part is the brain, but probably the most important also. Not probably, it's definitely the most important as well. And there is a lot of research funding going into it. There are many future careers going to come on that. So this will help get students need a basic biology understanding before they can go. Although we cover a little bit of biology to help, but somebody who has got some life sciences biology basic understanding can go for these competitions. Any questions? And it's not necessarily for just competition. Those who want to just learn neuroscience for the purpose of future careers also attend this course.
Sorry, Ram, I have a question for the biology 7th to 9th. This course is for the school year?
No, all of this I'm mentioning, they're available during the summer.
Okay.
So we also offer school year. The most of the courses are also offered during the school year from August onwards.
Okay.
But
Great.
we go at a slower pace throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
During the summer, we typically do multiple classes and slightly longer duration
Mm-hmm.
each week. So it's more intensive, but all of these are available during the summer.
Okay. Sounds good.
So Ram, like what is covered for the 5th grade science?
So we cover all three: earth sciences, physical sciences, and life sciences. And for science genius class, we don't do offer by grade. It's for so we cover all of them. But obviously, no, we don't go into all the nitty-gritties. It is more to promote critical thinking and help kids explore more. But we cover all three earth sciences. So I think the topics for all these courses are, if you go to our website, mathusacademy.com, and go to the blog at the bottom, I think all of their, we do have the all the course curriculum available. If it is not, if not, just email us and one of us will provide you the course curriculum.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Next, public speaking and debate. They're related but different. So public speaking is, I think we all see in the organizations at work, those who got a good oral communication skills, they grow much faster. And these skills are harder to learn later on. So those who build early, they will stay on with them. Part of it is getting over inhibitions in speaking. Part of it is just developing the skills, how to present oneself properly, how to present professionally, etc. Debate, on the other hand, is more competitive based. There are many debate competitions where there are teams, either one-on-one or like teams of 2 or 3 compete with other teams, and you present one. Let's say if the topic is going to one team presents pro, other team on the other side of it, and it's a fun. It also promotes public speaking, but more in a fun and competitive way. Whereas public speaking is not competitive. I think public speaking is important for everyone. Debate is those who really want to spend more time and go for debate competitions, etc. Again, grades are for indicative purpose. Typically, debate competitions start from middle scale and up only. Whereas public speaking, you could start early learning. Any questions? Spelling.
I'm sorry, because me and my daughter talking in between. My daughter is asking, is public speaking also offered? So since this is summer and she already finished her 8th grade, she could join, right? Technically, between the 3rd to 8th group.
Sure, yeah, she can join that, yeah.
Okay.
Is this Madhavi?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Madhavi, if you can just email, or I think you and I texted a little bit, or you can text or you can email, which ones are you looking for? We can help you place.
Okay, I'll send you an email. It's too many questions.
Sure, yeah,
Thanks.
no problem. Spelling is a very niche course. You see often the spelling bees, like Scripps National Spelling Bee that gets telecast on ESPN, etc. Right? So some students prepare seriously for this. I wouldn't recommend this for everyone, but those who are interested in spelling bee, we have Scripps National toppers like Ananya was the 2017 Scripps winner, Nesa who was 2 years back runner-up, and the top 10 from many bees. They are our coaches. We also have a software for practice, modules for practice, and we conduct online spelling bees as well. I don't know how many of you are interested in this one. Unless anybody has a specific interest, I will move on. But those who are into it, they're very, very serious. They spend a lot of time on that. And for young students, I think they can try. We have multiple levels in this again. They can try level 1 and see if that is something that they'll be interested. But by the time they come to 5th or 6th grade, you're either doing it or not doing it, right? If you're doing it, you're spending a lot of time on it. For younger kids, they can probably dabble a little bit and see if it is for them. And many schools, when the school is operates back again, there are school spelling bees. It's actually classroom spelling bees, school spelling bees, and from there eventually they go to regional and national level. And so anybody participate in that, it'll be a fun thing to do as well. Coding is increasingly more and more accessible for young students. It prepares kids for exciting careers in artificial intelligence, data science, robotics, etc. But every field is impacted by software, and and there are a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities. Many kids in high school or some even middle school write their own program and publish on mobile phones or websites, and even start companies. And there is kids have so many opportunities nowadays, but you wouldn't know when they're young. So just expose them and see if that it is really for them. And it also builds on the math and problem solving skills. So coding, there's part of it is syntax, right? We try to make it very simple syntax. That's why the programs that we offer are Python and Scratch. Scratch doesn't require any syntax. It is all graphical. Python, of all the languages, is the closest to English, right? It's more, and it doesn't have as much syntax. So that's why it's very popular among the students. So typically, elementary school students, we do Scratch programming, and middle and high schoolers Python programming. Those who are into it, I've seen some kids. The other day, I was at a office complex here. There are a couple of high schoolers sitting, and every day they come there and doing something. I just asked them, "What were you guys doing?" And they said they formed a company. They're 11th graders. They actually finished all their courses early on. They just have a couple of high school courses in 11th, 12th. Instead of going to college, some of their options where you can go to college dual enrollment, they actually started a company, and they're doing a drone-based offering, a service offering for real estate, where the drones can do surveying, etc. And they actually have live customers. And it was amazing. Obviously, they started doing programming much earlier, but by the time they reached high school, they had an idea to actually do it. And irrespective of what the results are, these are amazing things. The kids can actually, what they learn in life skills is great when they can experiment, try, fail, get up, fail. Failure is never final. So this gives a lot of opportunity for kids to kind of explore entrepreneurship. And my last set of courses I'm going to talk today is about the test prep. By the way, if any of you are specifically looking for SAT, ACT, or PSAT, I'm doing another webinar at 5 p.m. We'll talk exclusively about this in much more in detail. What is SAT? What is ACT? What is PSAT? There are actually multiple types of PSAT. I can't spend too much time today. It's already like 2:56 Eastern time. I think we said we'll go up to 3:15, but in the 5 p.m. EST webinar, I'll talk a lot more in detail about these. How are those structured? How many questions will be there? What is the scoring mechanism? And what are the classes offered? In much more in detail. But at a high level, SAT and ACT are primarily for high school students for college admission purposes. And sometimes 7th and 8th graders, advanced 7th or 8th graders for Duke, TIP, or Johns Hopkins CTY. These are Talent Identification Program. TIP stands for Talent Identification Program, and CTY stands for Center for Talented Youth. So Duke and Johns Hopkins universities actually provide these. They actually have 7th or 8th graders take SAT or ACT. And they don't count for college admission purpose, but it helps them use summer programs or online courses or invite them for award ceremonies, etc. This will also be good to have right in your college admission if you got selected for a Duke tape or Johns Hopkins citywide during middle school. Similarly, for 5th and 6th graders, they actually have them take PSAT 8-9. PSAT 8-9 is a simpler version of SAT. Was originally introduced as a practice for 8th and 9th graders, but Duke and Johns Hopkins have them take, have 5th and 6th graders take to identify advanced students and provide them opportunities. Again, as I said, if you are specifically interested in more information, at 5 p.m. Webinar, we'll talk a lot more about this. But if any high-level question, you can answer now. But in general, if you have any questions about the schedules and fees, etc., I'm going to talk in the next 2 slides. They are there on the website, but if you have any other questions specifically related to the test prep, you can ask me now.
I have a quick question there. So the PSAT NMSQT, right? So is that similar to SAT, or like is it a different format?
Yeah, good question. So PSAT are sometimes called PSAT 10-11, or also called NMSQT. That is almost same as SAT. It has the same syllabus. It actually has the same format. The only thing that is different it has fewer questions than SAT, and hence a shorter duration. It does not have the optional essay. It was only math and English, not the essay part. But otherwise, it's almost same as SAT. And for preparation for PSAT, just attend SAT. It is no different. The PSAT 8-9, on the other hand, is slightly different. It is not only even shorter than PSAT or NMSQT, but it also has some of the advanced concepts not included. Whereas PSAT or NMSQT does have all the concepts from SAT. So it's no different except shorter duration and fewer questions.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. So then schedules. What are the schedules for the summer classes? So at a high level, as I said, most of these are starting from June first week, go through June and July. We started a few courses since last week, and we may not offer them again, start new batches in June, but if somebody is interested in joining those courses instead, we do a catch-up class to catch up with the missed classes, but we also provide all the material and the recordings, and your child can join from next week. But most other courses will start from June first week. They're either twice or 3 times a week, depending on the course. I'll go to the website now, I'll show that. And for the current summer, because of the current COVID situation, we are offering special discounted fees to help kids utilize the summer productively. So you can go here to later on if you want to check the website, mathusacademy.com, and click on summer webinars and classes. But let me open it and show it. So same for the fees as well. So I'll show both on the website. So if you go to mathusacademy.com and click on that link I said, you will come to this. This is the summer online classes and webinars. So schedules, we are going to publish the detailed schedules shortly, but generally speaking, so this table gives the fees. It also talks about high level, how many times, how long, etc. So SAT and ACT, June and July, 8 weeks, 3 times a week, 2 hours per session. So it's a total 48 hours. The usual fee for 48 hours course was $1,440, but we're offering for $1,080 for the current summer. We also had a couple of batches which started last week. They were for 12 weeks, but 2 times a week. So it's the same duration, but no stretch or a longer period. So they can your child can either join from the June 1st week, In fact, we may start one batch from May last week because there are already enough students. We typically try to keep this class sizes 5 to 6 students or less to pay personal attention. So we may start one batch from May last week because there's some students who want to start soon right away. If you are looking for something like that, let me know. We can try to include your child into that batch. Others will start. We typically have multiple batches. I mean, we try to group students of similar ability together so that it's easier to manage that class. PSAT is similar except 8 weeks, June, July, we do twice a week. It's 36 hours instead of 48 hours. So the fee is accordingly $720. So it effectively comes for, I think it is, if you calculate 1080 divided by 48 or 720 divided by 36, it comes to, think about $22.50 per hour, which is highly competitive. SAT group classes are typically in the range of about $40 per hour. One-on-one classes are much higher, $60 or more. But at this time, we are offering it at discounted fees and still keeping small sizes. So sometimes, one way to reduce fees by having 10, 15 students in SAT class. We find that that's not very effective. We still keep this class sizes small to pay personal attention, but try to keep small sizes and still offer competitive price. Another thing, one question we often get, I will discuss more about it during the 5 p.m. webinar. The teachers for all these classes, we find that the best teachers for these courses are those who did themselves in the past. For example, SAT, ACT, RPSAT, etc., or even AP courses, etc. Those who did themselves, we pick from highly selective screening process, and we look for undergrad, those who are currently doing undergrads, and those who have done got perfect scores or near perfect scores in the past and have teaching experience. Many of them actually teach during their high school and college days, and they have been teaching with us for a past couple of years, and most important, highly motivated and because we find that those who are motivated energize the students to do well, and they themselves are passionate about it and connect with the students. Often because the students are often able to connect better with those who have done few years back, went through the same path, taken the test a few times, and actually got perfect scores. So we try to, and within that, we select from maybe select probably about 1 in 20 those who apply, and we go through multiple levels of screening to identify them. So that just, I think I forgot to add it in the slides. I have it in the 5 p.m. slides, so I just thought I'll mention it. So the math bridge courses are again 8 weeks, twice weekly. So for 4th to 8th graders, it's $620 for the whole course, and for 1st to 3rd graders, $480. Math Genius, as I said, has started last week, but if anybody's interested, we can help do a catch-up class and do that. We do have the competitive courses like pre-math counts and math counts starting from June 1st week, as well as one course for 7th, 9th graders who are already doing competitive math. And these are much harder. This is not, again, for every 7th, 9th grader. Those who are already participating in math competitions and those maybe even won some competitions and want to get into really serious course, we have one called Passport to Advanced Competitive Math, also starting from June 1st week. Another competition is AMC 10. And it says 7th through 10th, but sometimes even a 6th grader may qualify if they were done in the previous exams in the past and scored well. They may be able to attend this. ELA classes are similar to math. Most of the classes are June, July, 8 weeks, twice weekly, and 1.5 hours. Public speaking is just about to start. Sorry, go ahead. Somebody has a question? And all of these are available on the website. You can go. For the specific schedules for days, etc., we'll work with you. So over the next week or two, we'll, if you are interested, also let us know any days or times that are blocked. We try to schedule working with the parents. Obviously, those who come in the last minute, we cannot change the schedule. But if you are interested, and let us know now. We try to accommodate, come up with a schedule that works for your students. And then once it is published, obviously it will be difficult to change because some students already enrolled into it. But at this time, if you are serious about a specific course or courses, let us know. And any days that are blocked, we'll try to schedule around those. One-on-one, for almost everything, we can also do private coaching, one-on-one classes, and those schedules are flexible. We'll work with you and the teacher, assign a teacher appropriate for that, and find a schedule that works for both student and the teacher. These course fees are hourly. They're not fixed amount because you can take as many as you want. They're flexible. Typically, it will be $50 to $60 per hour range, but depending on the number of hours committed, we have a sliding scale. We can help bring down the cost if you commit for the whole summer, X number of hours. And if you're looking for any additional information specific to either SAT, ACT, PSAT, or math, or ELA, we have separate webinars for each of those. We also have one for, I think, spelling. There's one tomorrow. For ELA, we have one tomorrow at 2 p.m. Sorry, this one. We have ELA based one, and we have tomorrow, and again that repeats the following Sunday. We have one tomorrow at 5 p.m. EST on spelling. I'm doing one on math next 2 weekends, and I'm also going to repeat this one. If any of your friends look for more information, this is the current one. I'm going to repeat again the next 2 Saturdays. Right. So I think that's the end of my presentation. Now I'll open it up. I think we try to answer most questions. Let me know if you have any other questions related to anything for the classes.
So I have a quick question on the math, the 5th grade math. So for the 5th grade math, like usually they cover the pre-algebra, right? So that's what they do in the summer. So is that what the curriculum is based on for the bridge?
So when you say 5th grade, are your children going to be in 5th grade? Or
no, they are raising the 6th graders.
They're raising, yeah, correct. Raising 6th graders is typically pre-algebra, yeah.
Okay, so that is what they cover in December.
Right. What is the bridge class? If it is the critical thinking, it's different.
Yeah, like I got that. Yeah, the competitive math.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious about the PSAT. So I see it starts with the 5th grader, right? So like how do they learn the PSAT math, like when they are not done with the pre-algebra?
So we do teach that. So again, it is not necessarily for every 5th or 6th grader.
Right. Yeah. Like I understand.
Those who are kind of advanced, and some students do them in advance. So if you look at SAT curriculum, most of SAT, I'm not talking about PSAT 8-9, but just SAT itself is most of his middle school curriculum with a little bit of high school, right? So it is not the syllabus, it is the type of question that typically trips the students. And in PSAT 8-9, they take away some of the advanced concepts. There's still algebra, pre-algebra and introduction to algebra is there. So we teach those during the class. So yeah. Same for English, reading and writing. We cover all those like in grammar, writing. We teach the grammar concepts. In reading, it's mostly passages and how to interpret the questions, etc. They give a little bit easier reading passages for PSAT 8-9, but they're still advanced. They're not necessarily for every 5th or 6th grader, but if they're already advanced and know some of these concepts, it will be obviously easier to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good. I don't have any other questions. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Any other question from anyone else? All right, if there are no other questions, we're done. And yeah, you can email us or if you're talking to either me, Sridevi, or Ramya, one of us will help you with getting your students placed in the appropriate classes. And it is 3:12. We finished 3 minutes ahead of time. Have a good rest of the weekend. And if you are interested in SAT, ACR, ACT, or PSAT, I'll see you at 5 p.m. EST again. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.